Welcome to Python for Scientific Computing 1. In this video, we'll take a tour of Google Colaboratory and look at various parts of the Google Colaboratory and the Jupyter Notebook that it runs that will help us write Python codes and develop interactive notebooks. So to get to Google Colab, all you need to do is type colab.google. And when you go to colab.google, you basically have two options. Either you can open Colab or you can open a new notebook. If you're starting with a new notebook, you just click on the new notebook. If you want to go back to a notebook that you already have started and want to change it, then you go to Google Colab. So if you go to new notebook, you will be taken to a new notebook, which is right here. And as you can see, I have a Google account, so it has signed me into Google through the Google account. And the first thing you see here is that there is untitled1.ipynb. So first thing I want to do is change this name, and I'm going to call this demo of ipynb. So this is simply a file name that I'm going to add. And once I do that, if you notice here, it says all changes have been saved. So Google Colab automatically changes saves all the changes that you make, so you don't have to go and keep saving things as you write. So the key element of Google Colab are these two boxes here, the code box where you can insert code, and then the text box where you can add text. So let me first start with a text box. So I click a text box and you can see that it has given me certain things to do. So first thing I want to do is I want to put a heading. So I can simply go here and I'm going to say H2, which is my heading. And I'm going to say font, give a space, and say color equals blue. And notice that it changes to blue. And then I say this is a demo of Google Colab environment. And then I close my tags and I close my font because that is the inside tag. And then I close my H2. Okay. Once I do this, it is showing me how this looks. And if I want to close this text box, all I have to do is hold the shift key and hit enter, and basically it has put that in the background, and now I just see this is the demo of Google Colab. And if I want to add another text box, I can simply go add another text box. And then here I'm going to put a heading 3, and then I'm going to put my name. And notice, since it's just heading 3, I can close my heading 3. And again, if I hit Shift Enter, it goes away. Okay. If I want to go back and add something, I can simply double click on it. And notice here, I can put font color equals teal. So I'm going to put a teal color, and I'm going to close that teal color here. Close that font. Notice font is the tag, and I'm using the color property of the font to change the color property. And if I click here, it repositions my markdown preview. So instead of putting it in the bottom, it is putting it on the side. So it's showing you how it looks. And also you can add an emoji, you can add LaTeX code, you can add horizontal line, do all kinds of things. So if you want, there is also a set of codes here. This moves it up and down. So for example, if I were to click here, this goes and parks itself next here, and then this button here also, if you click on it, opens the edit. So I can toggle my edit and close it using this pencil looking thing on the menu. So this menu is also available, and if I click on this, you can see that I can copy this cell, cut a cell, or select a cell. So now that I've added my two text boxes, I'm going to add another text box. And to do that, either I can go on the top and click, or I can go to my wherever I want to insert that text box. I go here and insert it. And then I'm going to put a problem statement. I'm going to call it a problem, and then I'm going to select it and bold it. And if you notice, when it bolded, it put these 2 stars. 2 stars means 2 stars is the tag for bold. Okay. I'm going to say solve the quadratic equation, and I want to put a quadratic equation here. So I'm going to put my LaTeX. So if I click on it, I can get the LaTeX, and or I can even put a $sign and then say ax squared, or well, let's put a number there, 3x squared plus 2x minus 10 equals 0. And I can also say f of x equals 3x squared, 2x is equal to 10. And I put that, and you can see that it gets that x tilde 2 gets converted to 3x squared minus 2x plus 10. Again, I can hide the markdown, and now I'm showing the quadratic equation. Let me add another text box here, and I'm going to add here and say that solution, and again I select it, click on the bold, it'll put these 2 stars and say the solution. The solution to the above quadratic equation is, and I can say here I'm going to put a $sign and say frac stands for fraction, and I put 2 curly brackets. This is the numerator, and in the numerator I want -2 backslash plus or minus square root, again square root sqrt. I'll put a flower bracket, b squared, which is 2 squared, minus 4 times AC. A is 3 times minus 10 divided by 2a. So 2 times 3, and I'm just going to put a negative sign here. And once I close the tag, you can see that it has put everything. I need a parenthesis to close, minus 3 times 10. And you can see that it has closed the parenthesis. Okay. And this is the solution. So again, I can hit Shift Enter, and I have it. Okay. So if I want to do this calculation and save it, I'm going to use a code block. And in the code block, I'm going to say A, which is the root, first root. I'm going to call it x1 equals -2 plus, I want the square root. I don't have a square root function in Python, but I can raise it to power 0.5. So 2 squared, so 2 squared minus 4 times of minus 10 times 3, and then the whole thing raised to 0.5. And now I want to take this entire numerator and divide it by 6, or 2 times 3. Okay. Then if I say print x1 and I click on this button here, it says it allocates and starts connecting to Python computing engine backend, and it prints x1. Similarly, if I want my second root, all I can do is copy this. So I can go select, hit the button Control C, come back here and say Control V, turn this into x2, and notice this has to be negative, and write x2. So, and then I can run this again, and I get my value here. Okay. So this is how, those are the two roots. And notice that the order of the operations is very similar to what you have learned in mathematics, especially if you want everything in the denominator. You need to make sure that the denominator, the 2 times 3 is in parentheses so that it is calculated as one entity. Otherwise, it will take this numerator, divide by 2, and then multiply it by 3, which is not what you want. So this is how you can add text blocks and code blocks to perform things. There are some menus here. For example, I can run everything, so it runs all the code for you at once. You can run all, run before, you can run a selection, so on and so forth. It also gives you, you can also insert a code cell or a text cell or add a section header cell. So if I want to add a section header cell here, I can go and, for example, insert and say a section header cell, and see it has added a new section for me. And now I can say, I can add section headers as well. So instead of new section, I can say problem 2, something to that effect. Okay. So you can see that the menus are fairly intuitive. In the file, you can open a notebook, you can rename the notebook, you can save a copy in the file, so on and so forth. You can save a copy as a GitHub gist. If you have GitHub account, you can save it on GitHub, which is a code repository, and make it available for others to run this code or any code that you write. So you can do several things. You can download this as a Python or as an interactive Python notebook so that you can run it on your machine if you have Jupyter Notebook installed or Python installed on your system. So, so that is a quick overview of Jupyter Notebooks, things you can do. I showed you how to put in text. I showed you how to put in LaTeX formulas, and you can see that LaTeX formulas render very well. They make mathematics look like mathematical equations, so they're easier to read, and then you can put in calculations. Here we used Python mostly as a calculator. We made use of exponentiation for square roots and for calculating powers. And then keep in mind that if you want the denominator, everything in the denominator to be computed as one element, then you need to enclose them in parentheses. Same thing with numerator. If you want this -2 plus this square root term, you put a parentheses to take care of that as well. So when in doubt, put parentheses, make sure that your calculations are grouped, so that the grouping, so that you're doing the right kind of calculations, and then you can use parentheses to do that. So that gives you a quick overview of Jupyter Notebook. I hope you found this video useful. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.